Watch this.
Three people want to park themselves into Caldwell's top city position. And last night, they tried to convince voters why it should be them.
We are going to be collecting medical signatures because it's going to the ballot in Idaho in 2026. Woo!
Oh, they're excited about the possibility of medical marijuana. Well, as excited as one could be about another toke at a voter initiative. Excited about the future, but history isn't on their side. Did someone say history? It's a little part of our past mixed with a measure of a mobile app, but it's all Idaho. One local artist turned his quirky book series into interactive screen time. Well, municipal elections, they're the focus across the state of Idaho next week. City council seats, school boards and levies, local taxes, and the mayors of 13 cities will all be decided on Tuesday. KTVB hosted candidates for one of those cities last night in a debate over who will run the city of Caldwell the next 4 years. A hot topic during the debate and, well, basically for the better part of a year, really. Bugging the people of Caldwell who frequent the center of the city, formerly known as Bugtown, that would be parking meters. Put them in, take them out, people like them, people hate them. It just kept going. The epitome of local election ramifications, of course. Well, now there will be 2 parking zones with different time limits in the city of Caldwell. And last night, incumbent Mayor Jerem Wagner defended criticisms, while challengers Brad Doty and Eric Phillips, they called out what they saw as problematic.
I do support the parking committee that we've put together. However, in regards to the parking meters, we have to remember at the time there was a lot of chatter of a parking garage. Those are millions of dollars, 20 to 40 million, even more than that. So the support for the parking meters originally, instead of having the Caldwell taxpayers have to foot that bill, would be that anyone coming to Caldwell would have to pay into the meters, and then that money would be set aside for parking improvements or enhancements or private-public partnership for the parking garage. The issue became, though, once council, how the mayor lost support, was once we learned that maybe the mayor misstepped on his negotiation with the parking meters. So once we found that out and realized that it may be in violation of Idaho code, that's when the support of the parking meters went away. And certainly the rollout of that, the software with the parking meters, we had black screens, we had applications that didn't work, we had parking signs that indicated your car would be towed to Boise. So the rollout could have been done much better as well. But
Mayor Wagner, do you believe, looking back at that situation, you could have handled it differently?
So hindsight is always 20/20. We definitely could have done a better job. I do not agree with Mr. Doty in saying that the mayor's office misstepped in breaking the law in regards to how it took place. But you can always learn from that. You know, the parking advisory board, it was exciting to bring that to council and have them approve that. It would have been great to have that as we worked through this process. You know, we did numerous outreach. We did open houses. We did community events to get the feedback from the community, from the public of what they wanted and how they wanted to see it regarding the location of the meters, regarding the charging, regarding the hours of the day. And that all went exceptionally well. However, looking back, I wish we would have used an outside source for that. That way it wasn't the city that was driving that. It was the community itself, and they didn't feel like perhaps the staff member was pushing it one way or another. So learning from that experience, we did learn a lot from that, and we made adjustments and changes. As mentioned, the parking advisory board that's now in place. And I think that's what it's all about. We're always going to make mistakes in life, and we want to make sure to correct those and do the right thing moving forward.
Mr. Phillips, what was your thoughts on the parking meters?
It was a debacle. That was a dumpster fire rolling down a river that was flooding thanks to a hurricane. And time again, this is one thing I've harped on is, you know, this administration does not listen to the people. Do they sometimes? Sure. This time they absolutely did not. We could look back historically, right? Meters did not work before. Why would they have worked again? Especially when we continue taking parking away time and time again. And we just did it again with another approval recently over by 5th and Arthur. Do I agree that there is a parking issue? Absolutely, but it's a self-created one. These folks keep giving away important parking. The Tilling Apartments, I'm glad people have a place to live, but at the same time, they didn't make them have all of their own parking. And I think that's one of the fundamental issues, is not knowing the city, not looking at the pulse of what's going on, not listening to the people. If you had simply taken a step back and taken a breather, we would have avoided all that
And you can catch the full Caldwell mayoral debate right now on KTVB+. The candidates dive into hot topics and future visions for Caldwell, including perceptions of the Caldwell Police Department and relationship building with communities impacted by the federal raid in Wilder. And then, Brian, coming up tonight here at our KTVB studio at 7 p.m. on KTVB+, we'll have two of the four candidates from the Nampa mayoral debate, the Canyon County Clerk, Rick Hogebum, and newcomer in Nampa, Eric Myricks.
Okay, so we covered that parking situation at Caldwell extensively over the last year or so. What do you expect to cover tonight in the debate between the Nampa candidates?
I think it's going to be a situation of you have Rick Hogebum, who city councilman formerly, and now the Caldwell, the Canyon County Clerk. So kind of the establishment candidate, had worked with Mayor Kling's office for many years. And then you have Eric Myricks, who is a newcomer. He is new to the Valley. He's new to Nampa. He's a show performer. He's a jazz performer. So he brings in a very different perspective than someone that may have lived in Nampa for a few more years than him. So I think we're going to see the idea of what could Nampa be and the contrast of what is it now, what have we been doing right.
Will CWI getting the Ford Idaho Center, will that come up?
Yeah, I can tell you right now that Morgan Romero and I have been preparing our questions for the candidates. We'll be asking about the conveyance of the Ford Idaho Center to the College of Western Idaho, how that can be handled, as well as the growth in Nampa right now and infrastructure. Something that we're highlighting in all the debates, of course, is these growing areas. If you drive through any of them, there's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of construction. How do you manage growth and infrastructure while also making sure that your city is livable and it's accessible? And it's interesting because it's not hypotheticals at this point. It's you are going to be chosen to do this job and lead this city. We need concrete answers. So that's what we're looking for here tonight.
In 90 seconds or less.
In 90 seconds or less. With rebuttals?
Yes.
Of course.
All right. Thanks, Joe.
No problem.
I wanted to tell you something so important for Idaho. I'm so excited. We are putting the decrim petition, all of it, on the back burner. Sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. That announcement this morning from Kind, Idaho, letting the world know they are putting the pause on their Decriminalize Cannabis Now campaign. Partly because, well, they've been having a hard time collecting signatures, they say, but mostly because there's now another marijuana initiative in town. Once again, there's a push to get medical marijuana legalized in Idaho. And this morning, the Idaho Medical Cannabis Act has been given the go-ahead from the Secretary of State's office to collect signatures. The approved title from the Attorney General's office, a measure to decriminalize the use, possession, production, cultivation, transportation, distribution, and sale of marijuana for medical cannabis cardholders and those with a license to grow it, it says. So with that, the Natural Medicine Alliance of Idaho has from until today, until April 30th of next year, to get the necessary signatures to get the initiative on the 2026 November ballot. Organization says this is about giving families and individuals options when nothing else has worked. And so, as you just heard, Kind Idaho says they will suspend, not withdraw, but suspend their efforts to help with this effort. Telling us today, having two circulating initiatives out there, well, that would just be too confusing. And this one might have a better shot at changing a law that's been on Idaho's books since 1927. Idaho is one of 12 states that does not allow medical marijuana. Not that legalizing any form of it hasn't been tried so many times before, beginning in 2012 with a medical marijuana initiative circulated every 2 years, I should say, since. All of them were either withdrawn or suspended or just didn't qualify for a lack of support and signatures. For example, in 2014, they only collected about 400 signatures, I remember, so close to 420, but so far from what they needed. Idaho law requires signatures from 6% of registered voters in 18 of the 35 legislative districts. And back in 2012, that was about 47,000 signatures. For this year, or for next year, I should say, they're going to need a little more than 70,000 signatures. But there have also been attempts from inside the State House, going back to 2015, when lawmakers passed a cannabinoid bill to help epilepsy patients with seizures. But back then, Governor Butch Otter vetoed it, claiming the outcomes for patients who use it, well, it was more speculative, he says, than scientific. Then in 2021 and 2023, we had a couple of medical marijuana bills introduced to the State House, but they never got a hearing and they died in committee. On the other side of this movement, there's a law they passed last year that made possession of 3 ounces or more of marijuana that went into effect in July. Well, that now carries a mandatory minimum fine of $300. And then there's House Joint Resolution 4, which is asking voters to amend the state constitution to give lawmakers exclusive authority to regulate the drug. The resolution sponsor, that'd be Republican Representative Bruce Skog, he said it's about, quote, the virtue and sobriety of Idahoans. HGR 4 passed the legislature last session and is on the November 2026 ballot, meaning if it qualifies, this petition for medical marijuana, your 2026 ballot, the state ballot, could be asking you to decide both whether you want to allow medical marijuana through a voter initiative and whether you want to remove any future chance of another marijuana ballot initiative ever. By the way, the medical marijuana people, they'll be paying people to collect signatures going forward. For more information on that, you can check out their website. It will be in this story at ktvb.com. These days, it's a debate over what's too much screen time for kids. But what if there was some educational value to it? Idaho history just got a digital upgrade with help from a chatty beaver. Speaking of apps with value, that phone of yours has a great one. It's the one with the little word bubble icon. Yeah, just open it and add your 2 cents to the 208 conversation. 208-321-5614. That's the number. And 208, that's the hashtag. Oh, and don't forget your name. Stick around. We could share yours at the end of the show. Five years ago, we met a Boise illustrator who felt the Gem State's strangest stories deserved a second look and a younger audience. That'd be parachuting beavers, a house full of pet bears, the ugliest car ever built. All of it true and all of it so Idaho. And somehow, well, he turned the state's hidden history into a colorful adventure for kids.
A while ago in Idaho.
If I were to create an Idaho history book for myself as maybe a 4th, 5th grader, what would that be like? The mantra being that if it's not weird or strange, then it doesn't really make it in the book.
Explore the state's interesting and sometimes strange history.
My name is Amber Byerly. I'm the historian and writer.
My name is Kelly Knopp, and I am the creator and illustrator of A While Ago in Idaho.
In 1986,
I found it really fun to pair historic stories with artwork.
Hello, my name is Belmont Beaver.
So I created this beaver character. His name is Belmont Beaver.
What other sources of energy?
I know when I first saw the first rendering of Belmont, I was like, yep, this is the guy.
Arco became the
He basically becomes your tour guide.
electrified with atomic power.
He shows you the location where the historic fact originated from,
White sturgeon on the Snake River near Weiser.
and then he explains more about it.
It weighed 1,500 pounds.
Of course, I love sharing Idaho history.
In 1975,
And so really, I think we've created a book in which we're not only making history accessible, but really creating a sense of place
excellent horsemen
so that they can go out and really understand where they're from, or if they've just moved here, learn a little bit more about their community.
the theropods.
The dinosaur bones that were found, or evidence of dinosaurs in Idaho, is pretty interesting, all the way
At least 50 people cited a monster.
up to the myth of Charlie and Payette Lake.
A beaver named Geronimo was.
And when you read the book and find out what this beaver named Geronimo actually did, it's pretty exciting and terrifying.
The Gem State.
This gives people the opportunity to maybe drive around, take a tour throughout Idaho, learn and take that knowledge with you and go to the place that it happened.
At the City of Rocks.
And I think this book really is the book that I would have wanted to learn more about history and inspire me to go out and find out more.
Keep exploring the great state of Idaho.
Well, you can still do that, except that book has now grown up a bit. It talks. Belmont has a voice. And it also quizzes you, even lets you color a beaver on skis. Hunter Funk looked at how that illustrator is turning the page once again, this time from paper to pixels.
Why don't we try this one? Okay?
Let's learn about Idaho's not-so-lame history.
It's not a video game.
Here, do you want to press this button?
And it's not exactly homework either.
Oh, so it looks like on this part we can color. Do you want to color?
But hand a kid an iPad.
Yeah.
With the talking beaver.
Tag along with me.
Suddenly,
Belmont Beaver.
Idaho history might not seem so boring anymore.
As we explore the side of Idaho's history that is fun, exciting, and weird.
This is the new A While Ago in Idaho
so you
app.
Can scroll and find what you think is the coolest fact that you didn't
It's
know.
a digital version of the children's book series that this man,
Kelly Knopp.
who wears many hats.
I have too many titles. I'm like, which one?
For this story, he's the writer and illustrator of A While Ago in Idaho. And ask him if he ever thought that his idea, 5 years later, would become an app.
No, not this far. It definitely was I'll do a book and see how it goes, and that seemed like it had enough attention, enough momentum to do 2, and then 3, and then the 4th combined book, and now the app. And I was at Art in the Park, and this guy named Charles Hanson came up to me and said, you know what, this would be really cool as an app. And I was kind of like, well, it'd be great if I knew someone that did apps. And he was like, I do. And I was like, okay, let's do it. So I worked with him and this gal, Jessica Ramon, to compile everything and get it ready for digital. And then over the last year, we've developed this app. So it's the whole entire book. It's narrated by my friend Jody Sally, who has this really insane, perfect beaver voice for this character.
A while ago in Idaho. What do you want to play?
And then there's some coloring pages in there.
All right, let's color.
And also this interactive quiz where you can kind of place historical markers, landmarks, and facts throughout Idaho to kind of learn more about where this stuff exists in the state.
We took it to the kids at Innovate Academy in Eagle to test it out.
You are, hey, give yourself a high five. Woo-hoo! Nice
2 5th
work.
graders and 2 1st graders.
Look out below. So basically, the guys decided it was a good idea to drop beavers in boxes from a plane.
Ask what they liked.
Learning about Idaho.
Maybe like the beavers in the box flying from a plane.
Probably about the ugliest car that only made 97, I'm pretty sure of them.
Would you have bought one of those cars?
No.
Like, it's fun to have an app that you can, like, revisit what you've learned. Like, when you're learning Idaho history, the next year you might forget some of it. But if you can go back into this app, you can just read about it and then remember all the stuff that you learned. And I think that's really cool.
Like any new app, it will continue to evolve.
I can easily add to it without having to reprint a book. So I feel like depending on the success and the momentum of the app, like in a year or so, I'll be able to add like an expansion to it so people can just keep growing the book on the app.
And these kids, yeah, they already have ideas for those updates.
I wish they had more stuff instead of 3 things.
It could be interactive, so you can choose where you want to go. Like, there could be like a tiny steering wheel that you could control with your fingers. I think that'd be really cool because it might also like attract kids. Like my brother, he's 6. Like he might like having more interactive things to do while also learning.
Both Kelly and the kids agree.
Do a rainbow beaver.
It doesn't just have to be for kids either.
I do think there's a sense of home and place when you really do understand what's happened on the ground you're walking on.
And there's a lot of things that a lot of people probably didn't know because they don't take the time to learn them. But this is a fun way for people to learn them.
And remember the words of Belmont Beaver, never stop exploring.
The book series A While Ago in Idaho is still in print, of course, but you can also find it on the App Store. And Brian, the next goal for Kelly is to pretty much work with teachers if he can, and then maybe start curriculum so they can learn these strange facts in Idaho.
That's pretty cool. Also sounds like he has some other work to do to upgrade this app a little bit and put some new components into it via those kids.
Yeah, the kids had a lot of ideas.
A lot of ideas. Okay, so it took you 11 seconds to get those answers correct?
I wasn't rushing. Yeah.
Okay, good
Yeah.
job.
Thank
Nice
you.
job. We'll be back. You know, it's part of Boise's goal to have a park just about a 10-minute walk from everyone wherever they live in the city. So now they want to add a new park on the Boise Bench. And the Anne Frank Memorial, that is back open. Here's Aspen Shumpert with today's 411.
The Anne Frank Human Rights Memorial is reopening after mobility and safety infrastructure improvements were completed this summer. The Greenbelt used to cut right through the memorial, and city leaders say the reconfigured space makes it less dangerous for visitors. Some of the improvements include widened paths, new signs, and upgraded security technology. The memorial is open daily from dawn to dusk to explore the, quote, walls outside. Guided tours must be booked 48 hours in advance. The Boise City Council is looking at adding a new pocket park on the bench. Thanks to a partnership with Viola Water and neighbors, a parcel of land about 19/100 of an acre on Hummel Drive could be preserved. This would provide hundreds of Boiseans with a park just a 10-minute walk away, a connection to other nearby parks, and a path to the Grace Jordan Community Center. The second of 3 debates this week is happening tonight on KTVB+. This evening, 2 of the candidates running to become the next mayor of Nampa will debate here in the KTVB studio. Current Canyon County Clerk Rick Hogeboom faces newcomer Eric Myricks, as current Mayor Debbie Kling is not running for re-election. That starts at 7 p.m. on KTVB+. And then tomorrow, the Garden City mayoral race takes center stage. Current City Councilman Bill Jacobs and College of Western Idaho trustee Molly Lenti will give their take on the city's future. That also starts at 7 p.m. You can watch all the debates on KTVB+. For a full breakdown of everything you'll find on the November ballot, check out our voter guide. Just text the word VOTE to the number on your screen. That's 208-321-5614. We'll text you back a link to the guide. And if you want the voter guide in Spanish, text the word VOTO to the same number, 208-321-5614. That's the 411 on the 208. I'm Aspen Shumpert.
All right, we got several comments today about the medical marijuana petition, like this one. It says, funny thing is, Idaho would vote for it. That's what politicians are afraid of. Just look at the parking lots at the dispensaries across the border in Oregon. All 1A and 2C plates already here, so let's make it legal. But I guess first they got to get the signatures before they have a chance to vote on it, which they haven't been able to do up to this point. There are some that have debilitating diseases that could get much needed pain relief from medical marijuana, says B&B. Yes, we had an oncology doctor testify in favor of it back in 2021. A veteran also talked about how it's much needed for him. So there's a lot of people out there. Last year, legislature passed law to sell ivermectin because citizens wanted it. Doctors are not recommending it, though. So what's the difference with marijuana is what he wants to know. Okay, so Belmont Beavers should explore the failed jump of Evel Knievel over the Snake River Canyon, says Bruce. And you know what? At least one of those guys was successful in their jumps, weren't they? Way to go, Belmont. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.